Hi, welcome along to Arsenal Fan Zones, the show that brings you the latest updates as it concerns Arsenal. If you're visiting this channel for the first time, please do have to hit on the subscribe button and do not forget to turn on the notification bell so you get to be notified whenever there's a new video. I've got my man Essien join me. Happy New Year, brother.
Happy New Year, Mr. T, and Happy New Year to all.
What a time to be an Arsenal fan. I mean, 7 points cleared on top of the league.
I'm loving it.
I mean, do you think, in all honesty now, is this a position you thought Arsenal would have been at this time of the year?
That's a tricky question.
7 points. Sounds crazy, though.
Even Mikel Arteta himself said that when he was preparing for the job, he gave them five stages rather, on what he thinks the process is to take Arsenal back to the glory days. And he said currently the team is ahead of schedule, so I'm just happy to be here.
It was another classic performance against Brighton yesterday. I think the last time in the show we did talk about the possibility of Arsenal picking all maximum points in their next 4 matches. We've played, of those 4 matches, we've played 2 and it's 6 points. We have games against Newcastle and of course Tottenham. So is it now possible that we could pick up all maximum points against those two giants, if you want to put it that way?
It's a possibility, but then again, we need to keep ourselves grounded. The confidence is there. The performances have been very, very encouraging. Although towards the ending, like last 20 minutes of our match against Brighton, we sort of became destabilized. I think after when made those changes.
Well, we'll talk about that, but in all honesty, can you now say confidently that winning the league is now possible for Arsenal?
Yes, it's a possibility. It's a strong possibility.
That sounded very quick.
Yes, I'm confident.
I don't want to think that you're carried away by the 7 points.
I'm not saying we are winning the league. I'm just saying it's a possibility.
Okay.
Yes, because the performances, it's not just like we are scraping these wins, we are getting lucky.
Yeah.
But we are actually playing well.
Yeah.
And the performances the results are showing me that the performances are up to what is expected of the top team.
I mean, but again, so you don't get carried away. It's 16 games, 43 points from a possible 48 points. I don't think it just couldn't be better. Fantastic setup we've had in this squad.
The performances again always boils down to performances.
Yeah.
If you look at every other team, I don't want to start mentioning names of teams before they say I'm being biased with or not. But you look at some teams that have been winning up until now, performances have not been there. They've just been scraping away these wins, if you must say it like that. But Arsenal have been consistently creating enough chances to score. If you look at the game yesterday, Arsenal created enough chances to score 7-8 goals. The first half alone, we created up to 4 chances. So that way, if you're creating enough chances, you're able to. There are days where the luck won't be on your side.
True.
But then again, if you're creating enough chances, you're at least giving yourself a fighting chance of getting something out of every game.
Well, talking about the performance yesterday, the guys actually came up with a very quick one. The fact that they actually scored as early as the 70th seconds. 65 seconds, thereabouts. What do you make of the performance yesterday? You want to talk about the individual performance as well?
Well, first of all, you need to start with another guy. This guy has been tearing up the league in the past 2 games. We always knew the ability was there. He just needed to do it on a consistent basis, which he has been doing now. As Arsenal fans, nothing these days. We are happy about his performance. And then another thing that gives me joy is the fact that Edin Ketia has scored in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
So which is going to bound to help in his confidence, especially with the run of games that we have coming up. And then I also need to talk about.
Do you see him? I mean, do you see him filling that vacuum? I mean, like you rightly said, it's his second goals in two matches he has started. You think the pressure is now somehow limited.
Yes, he has reduced the pressure from not just himself, but from the fans, because Gabriel Jesus raised the level rather of what we were to expect from centre forward from the supposed title contender. So he has come and he has delivered from the 2 games he has played. So we the fans now he has gotten the confidence from most of the fans that okay, Eddie Nketiah is up to the task. So we now have to now settle for if we can bring in new bodies.
You know, sometimes when you get to this stage, you're almost carried away by that. I mean, we've always been linked with a couple of players. But with this kind of performances, you might want to be tempted to probably just drop that idea of bringing that big name that we've always wanted. But again, you don't want to be carried away by that.
No, not at all. But if you think about bringing in players, it's always a necessity because injuries part of the game, loss of form part of the game. So what happens when, okay, right now we have lost Jesus for the next 2 months. Say Eddie Nketiah picks up in knock and is unavailable for 3 weeks. Who do we play? We have no cover in that position, so we need to bring in 2 or 3 extra bodies to at least give us a sense of depth. So in case we need the bodies later on in the season, they come in handy.
There's been this talk which I find an absolute rubbish. If you want to put it that way, about Real Madrid wanting a buyback for.
Yeah, I actually saw that some days back. But I think it has been confirmed from 2 sources that they don't have a buyback. I don't think Paquetá would that kind of mistake. The only clause I believe Real Madrid will have in his contract is sell on.
Yeah.
If we potentially move on for him, we'll get a percentage of the profits. I think that's one of the main reasons we were able to get him for as cheap as we did.
But I think it will actually be crazy for any club to want to think that, at this point where you already have a plan, raising these young guys up, you would want to sell a player of Martin Odegaard. I think it's completely unthinkable that anybody would want to think.
Yeah, but then again, the truth is, this is football. Football, we as fans, we always want to keep the best players in our team.
Come on, and when was the last time you saw Arsenal in this at this?
No, I'm not saying we are going to sell Martin Odegaard. I'm just saying if a club is crazy enough to bring 300 million, the least Arsenal will do is consider it.
Sounds really.
That's the rate we are doing in football now. They are paying absurd fees for players that if you can buy someone like Anthony for 100, close to 100 million, what makes you think Martin Odegaard cannot go for 150?
Well, talking about transfers now, there's been the talk for a very long time now of Arsenal's number 1 target, Mikhail Mudryk. And lately, João Felix of Atletico Madrid. You want to talk about these guys and what eventually, first of all, the possibility of even signing this player is still hanging. You get almost on a daily basis different sources, different news from different sources, particularly to Mikhail Mudryk. Where are we at this point in time?
Well, if you go by what you see on social media, I think our last 2 matches, Mikhail Mudryk has posted on his Insta story how, the first one he was enjoying the game, the second one he wrote a caption, I think top 2 coaches or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's obvious he's basically sending out the come get me plea. And I
think that has actually sent, some very good, messages down the spine of every Arsenal fan. The fact that this guy, the body language actually shows that he wants to come to Arsenal.
It just boils down to the club basically wants to get as much money as they can. That's just basically what it is now. They know he wants to go, and I think they actually want to sell him, but they just want to get as much as they can for him.
I think a whole lot has actually been said about the club taking a stance on, comparing the amount that was paid for the likes of Anthony of Manchester United and of course Jack Grealish of Manchester City. Yeah. So there's this talk about if you can pay that much for these guys, you should be able to pay this much for Mikhailo Mudryk as well.
Yeah, one of
But I find that pretty much crazy. It's just
these guys are something else. One of the directors actually said they value Modric close to Grealish than close to Anthony, which means they're expecting something in the 100 million euros range, which is absurd. This is a 21-year-old that has barely played international matches. He doesn't have any much match experience under his belt. Yes, he's a great talent. He has great potential. But we need to consider a lot of things. So they are becoming stubborn and honestly, just can get the transfer over the line.
But do you think it's going to be a possibility? Because I think apart from Mikhailo Mudryk and João Felix, there hasn't been any major link to any player outside these two.
Well, if we have learned anything,
Talking about strikers, though.
If we have learned anything from Arsenal, it's that we know how to keep transfer deal under wraps. This Modric own is because it has been, even he himself. I saw someone posting on Twitter that if once Arsenal agree the deal, let's say we agree the transfer fee with Shakhtar Donetsk, that Modric himself will announce the transfer even before Arsenal announce it.
Sounds
so
crazy.
He's actually excited to come out. We're looking forward to having him. But I feel like those are the only two transfers Arsenal have planned.
Well, there's been the talk of Yuri Tillemans as well. Just maybe it's not so strong like we have with the case of Mikhailo Mudryk. But I mean, the case of Yuri Tillemans is beginning to come up again. Just to be cautious about the midfield as well. Thankfully, we've not had any major injury with Thomas Partey, and just somehow you could see that the coach is actually trying to manage these guys. And for me, I think that was what informed some of the substitutions he made yesterday.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons. And then the main reason we are not hearing anything about Tillemans is because the club don't intend to spend any transfer fee on him. Their plan is to get him on a free once his contract expires, because they are absolutely sure he's not signing an extension. But I read some reports this afternoon that if Newcastle intends to put in a bid for him, then that might stop Arsenal's plan. That they might actually now have to go and meet Leicester this January and pay a little bit of money for him, which is not in their plan. So it will be interesting to see what actually happens down there.
Okay, so the next game is obviously going to be against Newcastle, another tough one from a side that surprisingly are actually third in the log table.
Yeah, Newcastle is a very tough position this season. They have been playing some really good football. You watch their matches, they're not just flocking it out and hoping for the best. They're playing good football. I'm looking forward to the match.
So is it going to be another possible 3 points? Because getting that 3 points will also build another level of confidence, taking one game at a time.
Yeah, that's the plan. One game at a time, build more confidence and see where it takes us. So I'm hoping for 3 points.
Well, Essien has actually said a whole lot concerning Arsenal and the possibility of actually springing up something surprising for all Arsenal fans. I mean, it's been a long time. We can't just wait to grab that title. So tell us what you think in the comment section with the results against Brighton. Is it a possibility that Arsenal can win the league? Please leave your comments, leave your views in the comment section on what you think. And once again, Happy New Year, and thank you so much for joining us on the show today.